Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today's video, kind of alluded to it yesterday. We were talking about the Utah Jazz, because Utah Jazz, for some reason, are the hottest team in the NBA right now. They are absolutely balling out. And I'm going to make a video talking about them, man, because it's been very funny, weird, kind of unexpected, but really fun to watch, you know? And yeah, we're going to talk all about it here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. We're almost at 450 actually by the time I'm recording this. So if you do like the content, hitting the subscribe button would mean a whole lot to me. Link to my Twitter and TikTok, stuff like that in the description down below. And yeah, I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So the Utah Jazz, they've been one of the hottest teams in the NBA as of recent, particularly in the last 13 games. In the last 13 games, they are 11-2, which is the best record in the NBA over that stretch. Amazing. 11-2 record in the last 13 games. And just read you off some stats for just the last 13 games. All these stats I'm saying right now are just in the last 13 games. They're third in points per game, averaging 125 points per game. Field percentage, they're ninth. They're shooting 49% from the field. The threes have been pretty solid. You know, the free throws, though, they're over this 13-game stretch, number one in free throws made. Over 21.5 free throws made per game. They're also fifth in free throw attempts. And they're second in free throw percentage, shooting 84%. So they're getting to the free throw line, drawing contact, you know, making that happen. Rebounding also really good. They're the second in rebounds. They're averaging a little bit under 48 rebounds per game throughout this stretch. They're second in defensive rebounds as well. An assist, they're tied for third, averaging over 30 assists per game. And then looking at the offensive defense rating, over this last 13 games, they're the 6th best offense and the 7th best defense. Top 10 in both offense and defense. They're doing that. They're also 4th in net rating. They're 3rd in pace as well, so they're playing fast. They've been really, really good. They've been really, really good throughout this 13-game stretch. Been a lot of confidence, you know, kind of figuring out lineups and rotations that work. I feel like they're shooting the nets off the rim. Feels like every game they're having like a 14, 15, 3-hitting game. They're getting to the free throw line, getting easy buckets as well. And they're doing it defensively as well. Not just, you know, shooting teams on offense, but also defensively. They're really locking in and doing their thing. So yeah, this 13-game stretch has been great. But overall, the entirety of the season now, they are 21-20. Currently on a 5-game win streak, which is the longest in the NBA right now. And they're over 500 for the first time this season. For the first time in the entirety of the year, they're over 500. It comes in January. The closest they got, they were 1-1. That's it. That's the closest they got to 500. Ever since then, they have not been 500. At one point, they were 4-11 on the season. 7-6. On December 11th, they were 7-16, and now they're 21-20. Again, they won 11-2 in their next 13 games, so over 500. They've won 5 games in a row. Over those 5 wins, it's not like they've been beating Detroit and Charlotte. Like, they've been beating teams. Those last 5 games, they beat Philadelphia in Philly. No Joel Embiid, but still. Then they beat the Bucks in Milwaukee. They were up by 30 at one point at halftime. Then they beat the Denver Nuggets on ESPN. They beat the Raptors by putting up 145 on them. And then last night they beat the Lakers without LeBron. But still, they beat a competent Laker team. So yeah, it's not like they've been just going against the bottom of the league and feasting on them. They've been going against actual teams and beating them. You know, overall through the entirety of the year now, these stats, they're 11th in points per game. Just outside the top 10, just behind the Warriors. Actually are tied with the Pelicans when it comes to points per game. Field goal made and percent and attempts, actually 7th in field goal attempts. Field goal percentage, they're kind of a little bit lower to the year because now these stats are kind of going to look a little bit more or less because we have to count the entirety of the year. But still, 3-pointers, they're 10th in 3-pointers made, 9th in 3-point attempts. The percentage is not great on the entirety of the year, but as recently it's been really good. Free throws, they're okay. They're 12th in free throws made, 16th in free throw attempts. Free throw percentage, they're 3rd, shooting 82% for the free throw line. So they're not getting to the free throw line crazy, but when they do, you know, they make it count. Offensive rebound, they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. 4th in offensive rebounds per game. They average almost 13 a game. Makes sense. And overall, entirety of the year, they're 3rd in rebounding per game. Actually tied for 2nd with the Brooklyn Nets at 46 per game. Yeah, they have a lot of big bodies. Got guys like Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler is always going to be down there. John Collins has been rebounding the ball. Kelly Olynyk. Even got guys like Colin Sexton and like Jordan Clarkson that will go in and battle in the trenches, get a rebounds and stuff. So yeah, they're good team rebounding. They're 7th in assists per game. That's just their system. They average 28 assists per game. The only problem is their turnovers. They're dead last in turnovers per game. So yeah, they have a lot of assists, a lot of turnovers though. That just comes with, not having a really true point guard. And their point guard right now, Keontae George, is a rookie. So he's going to make mistakes. Entirety on the year, they have the 18th best offense, which has actually jumped. And then 21st defense, and their net rating is about 23rd. But yeah, the Jazz are playing really good basketball right now, as of recently. Looking at all the recent stats and stuff like that, it's like they've been balling. Over this 11-2 stretch, they've been really, really, really good. Not just offensively, but defensively as well. Defensively, I mean, all of their wins, honestly, looking at like all these games and stuff, there hasn't really been that many close wins. Like to start this streak, they beat Detroit by 9 or by 8. Then they beat the Raptors by 7. Then after that, they beat the Heat by 8. Then they beat the Pistons again in overtime by 6, which is actually a crazy game. I watched that game. But after that, all their wins have been double-digit wins. They beat the Spurs by 12. They beat the Mavericks by almost 30. They beat the Sixers by 11. They beat the Bucks by 16. They beat the Nuggets by 13. They beat the Raptors by 22. Then they beat the Lakers by 7, which is another close win. But it's not like they've been like kind of battling, grinding out games. They've just been out shooting teams and dominating them. Over the season, Lauri Markkanen, last year, of course, he had the All-Star breakout season, and people were like, okay, how real is it? It's real. Markkanen's still been like that. He's averaging 23, 8, almost 2 assists. He's shooting 49% from the field, 39% from 3, 86% from the free throw line. There were some talks about potentially him being on the market, being moved, being traded, which still could be a possibility, but right now, it's not looking like it. I don't think the Jazz are going to make any crazy moves now because now they're in the play-in. Now they are the 9th seed in the Western Conference. They jumped the Lakers and the Rockets yesterday. So Lauri Markkanen might be around to stay, and he's been very, very good. Jordan Clarkson, even though he has missed a couple games, he's averaging 18, 3, and 5. He's shooting 41% from the field, still doing his thing. Colin Sexton has been very, very good, especially ever since he's gotten to the starting lineup. Overall in the year, he's averaging 16, 2, and almost 4 assists, shooting 48% from the field, 35% from 3, 89% from the free throw line. Of course, he's always had talent. Last year, he missed a lot of the season due to injuries. Come back this year, and he's been very, very, very good. He's actually been one of 2 Jazz players, him and Ochai Agbaji, the only players that have actually played in every game for the Jazz. Colin Sexton's been really good. Keontae George, their 16th overall pick out of Baylor, he's been very solid, even though he's not shooting the ball super efficiently right now, but he's a rookie. Rookies' efficiency doesn't really, don't look at it too hard. But he's averaging 11, 3, 4.5 assists per game. He's been very good, especially in different roles. He started as a starter, now he's coming off the bench, and he's still, doing his thing. He's a guy that, came out of college, out of Baylor, won, freshman of the year or something like that last season. No more for, being a bucket getter, and being a creator, but now he's kind of stepped in more into the point guard role in Utah, and he's been doing a great job of it. He's actually been kind of more of a point guard facilitator than a scorer, because his efficiency hasn't been good, but he has the ability to pop off, and get some big games. Walker Kessler, even though he hasn't really had the big jump we expected this season, after having an amazing rookie year, this year he's kind of been the same, if not maybe a little bit worse. But as of racing, he's coming together. He's still averaging 8 and 7 with 2.5 blocks per game, shooting 64% from the field. At the very least, he's still going to be a guy that's going to block a lot of shots and get a lot of rebounds. Simone Fontecchio, he's a guy that probably not a lot of people in the NBA know, but he's been playing really good, averaging 8 points per game. He's become a starter for them. He's shooting 44% from the field, 39% from 3. He's a sniper out there shooting. Kelly Olynyk, him, great basketball player. Averaging 8 and 4. He's shooting 43% from 3. Ochai Agbaji has been pretty solid. Chris Dunn has kind of made a role for himself in the NBA, kind of like what Dante Exum has done this year for Dallas. Chris Dunn has done that this year with Utah. Former 5th overall pick. Injuries and stuff, had a good little showing in Chicago, but just couldn't really find a home. And now last year, he signed in Utah and actually had some solid moments. Got a contract this year, and he's been pretty good. 5 and 4, shooting 47% from the field, not turning the ball over. Efficient point guard. That's what they need. And this Jazz team has been really good. And shout out to Will Hardy. He used to be on the Boston Celtics staff with Ime Udoka and them. And yeah, got the job last year at Utah. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he might be the youngest coach in the NBA. If I'm not mistaken. If he's not the youngest, he's one of the youngest. I know he's probably I think he's 38 or something like that. But last year you saw some things. Utah last year everyone expected Utah last year to come in and win like 11 games. I expected Utah to be the worst team in the NBA by far. And the first month and a half, they were one of the best teams in the NBA. And then, of course, kind of it kicked in. They're like, all right, we don't want to win. We traded off some of our vets, and they kind of, tanked. And I thought this year was going to be a tanking year. They're like, all right, we're probably going to win maybe 22 games, kind of like just try to trade some of our vets, try to get young pieces potentially, and let's do it like that. And it looked like that for the first like month and a half or 2 months of the year. But now they're actually a competitive team. And Will Hardy, one thing I've been saying about the Utah Jazz last year and this year is, yes, I don't watch a lot of Utah Jazz basketball, honestly. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I watch Utah every game and stuff like that, and I'm a big Utah guy. Like, not a lot of people watch Utah games. But when I do watch Utah games and watch Utah basketball, the one thing I do say is they fight hard. They play hard, no matter what. No matter what their record is, no matter what the score is, they're one of those teams that are going to come in every night and play hard and play competitive. They're not going to look like, even though their record might be one of the worst, they're not going to go out there and look like one of the worst teams. Like with the Rockets the last few years, where it's like, you go out there and you could tell, like, oh yeah, this team kind of sucks. Like, you could tell, like, something's going on. Utah, you don't see that. You come in and play Utah, even though their record might be like 7-16, they're still going to go out there and play like their competitive team and play with some heart and some fight. And they're that type of team that if you kind of slacking one day, they could get you. They've always been one of those type of teams, and now they still have that same mentality. And I credit that a lot to Will Hardy and what he does, and how he plays, and kind of the system he's put in, the culture he's kind of setting a little bit in Utah of just that hard working, if we're gonna fight, type of stuff, team basketball. Because that's what it's been. It's been team basketball. It's not just one player kind of going in having 30 and everyone else is kind of behind him. It's kind of been it's like team basketball. It's like everybody gets a chance. One night, Lauri Markkanen. One night is Jordan Clarkson. One night is Con Sexton. One night, guys like Chris Dunn, Kelly Olynyk, Keontae George step in and provide some minutes. Provide some good play. It's one of those type of teams where it's like, not saying you kind of don't know, because most of the time it's going to be Lauri Markkanen and Jordan Clarkson at the top, and then everyone else chips in. But it's one of those teams where it's like, you can't just lock it on one player and be like, all right, we're stopping Lauri Markkanen today, or we're stopping Jordan Clarkson today, and we don't care about anyone else. Because they have players on this team where Kelly Olynyk can have a game where he has 18. Con Sexton can have a game where he has 25. John Collins can have a game where he has 15 and 12. Keontae George can have a game where he has 16. It's like kind of like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, they play team ball. They shoot the ball. They're shooting the ball very well. They're aggressive. They're not afraid on offense or defense to get physical and do all that stuff. And yeah, a lot of credit to Utah Jazz, man. I mean, they're a team now that you kind of have to like think about in the play-in stuff. Like, usually you look at the Western Conference in the play-in, you're like, all right, you got the top teams now. You got Minnesota, OKC, Denver, Clippers, Kings, stuff like that. But then the play-in, it's like, all right, you got Suns, Lakers, Warriors, maybe Memphis if Ja Morant and them come back. But now that's not gonna happen. But now Utah's kind of put themselves up in a place where it's like, hey, we're here too. Especially now with Memphis kind of dropping out because, Ja Morant's out for the year. Desmond Bane's hurt. Marcus Smart is hurt. They've just been really cursed this past few months. It's like, all right, Memphis is kind of out of it now. And now Utah's kind of put their name up into it. Especially with the Warriors struggling, the Lakers struggling. Utah has come out of nowhere and kind of been like a team that's like, oh, okay, here's our chance. Hi, we're here. Don't forget about us. We don't disrespect us. We're here too. Honestly, if you go back to my Western Conference prediction video, I honestly I think I had the Utah Jazz the worst record in the Western Conference. I did, because I thought Utah was gonna come in this year and kind of just take it easy and kind of be like, you know what, we're not really trying to win a lot of games, trying to do that stuff. We're trying to get a top pick. We're trading a lot of our vets, guys like Jordan Clarkson, Kelly Olynyk probably won't be here for most of the year, be gone. Try to just do that, but they haven't done that. They've come in, they stuck to their guns, they play competitive basketball, and they're playing winning basketball right now. I mean, they've won 5 in a row. They won 11 of their last 13 games. They're up to 9th in the West. Honestly, right now, like, they're not that far off from being an 8 seed in the West or 7 seed in the Western Conference if they keep this up, which is going to be tough to keep up, obviously. Just because looking at the talent alone on the roster, I would take a lot of teams over them. But the way they play and the fight that they produce, the things that they produce on the court every night, it's just, it's hard not to, like this team and not to, like, kind of, like, look at this team and be like, dang, they might have a chance to, be in that play-in mix just because the way they play. and the heart they put out on the court every night. And shout out to Will Hardy for that, But yeah, this Utah Jazz team has been one of the more surprising and interesting things that happened this year. No one could have probably expected Utah Jazz being, kind of 11-2 in their last 13 and being in this play-in mix, being better than the Lakers and the Warriors right now. Like that's a thing. They're better than the Lakers and Warriors. That's something. But yeah, how long this will last, I'm not sure. This could last for a while. They could get to All-Star break and they still could be around this range. They could drop off. It's you don't really know. But no matter what, if it does drop off or whatever, just got to give a lot of credit to this Utah Jazz coaching staff, Will Hardy, and to the players for coming out, and balling. It's been very, very interesting to watch. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.